Hello and welcome to another Satisfactory video. Satisfactory is one of those amazingly fun and addictive games that just eats hours of your life. And one of the standout features for me is just how playable this game really is. The user interface is just genius, and I have to give Coffee Stain Studios a lot of credit for doing just a great job at making it easy and fun to play. And the game is really so fun because it's just natural. Today I want to talk about some really useful quality of life features that you might not have discovered yet because they're kind of hidden. Some of them are a little more obvious than others, and you've probably seen some in other videos. And these are the kind of, why didn't I think of that? Or, wow, that's so convenient kind of features. And I picked out 7 of these amazing features that I found either way later than I should, or totally by accident, and each one blew my mind. So if you want to make short work of massive factories, ramp up your efficiency, I think you're going to love these 7 easy to miss Satisfactory features. Alright, let's get started. This first one is maybe something you've seen before, but I think it could be easily missed. If you look in the very bottom, you've got your hotbar here, and it starts out with a few items on it. And I think it's pretty easy to figure out that if you press 1, you'll get the first item, you press 2, right? But there's this little thing off to the side here that maybe isn't as obvious. And I didn't see anything to tell me how to use this, but I did figure it out pretty quickly. If you hold down Alt and you use a scroll wheel on your mouse, you can scroll through a whole bunch of these. So you actually have 10 of these hotbars that you can customize. And what I've done with mine, I've got one that's kind of a general purpose logistics, got another that's more for fluids, got one for architecture, trains. Now you can put a lot of these things on here. If you want to load something up, open up the build tool, and let's say you want to put down power storage, you just select the number, press 2, and there it goes. It shows up on your bar here. Now anytime you press 2, you get power storage. So I'll put that back. You can do this with anything from the customizer to you saw colors. You can do these skins, materials, patterns. You can even do blueprints. You may have noticed on the trains, you can put these down. So if I hit 2, now it's bound to the hotbar. I like to keep power poles and power lines on my hotbar for most of the things that I use, because I find I use those a lot. Also, belts in a few places. I try to put them in the same place. That way, every time I go to these, they're in the same place. I can quickly build. I get that muscle memory. Just go hit 2, go hit 1, go hit 3, and I can just build. Now the next tip fits really nicely with the hotbars. It's not exactly obvious what this feature does, but it does show up. So if I were to build a Mark 1 pole here, I see I have a Mark 1 pole. But if I hit the E key, E is for everything. Anything that's similar to that, all of a sudden I can select those things. So I can cycle through similar items. So when you're using your hotbars, you may not want to put everything down. For instance, I can go through a constructor, to an assembler, to a manufacturer, back to a constructor. Same thing with these. You can go through lots of different things. That's true for almost everything that you have in the build menu. For example, even if I select custom swatch 1 and I hit E, it goes to 2, 3, 4, 5. This just cycles through all of the custom swatches. You get the same thing for the metallic finishes. You get the same thing for pretty much everything. My favorite one, I think, is when I'm working with pipes. Very often, I need to build a splitter on this pipe junction, and it's just the next thing off of this Mark II pipe. Another feature that I found just way too late in the game, and since have seen so many people using that I'm kind of embarrassed to admit how long it took me to find this, was Zooooop mode. So if you don't know about Zooooop mode, it is absolutely the best thing. And I have told people about this who have played this game for way longer than me who didn't know about it. So when you start building a foundation, you'll notice that it says build mode default. And that just means I'm going to put one foundation down, and then it takes the animation a little while to catch up before I can figure out exactly as I'm putting these down. They do snap to each other, and so it is not too bad to build these. But Zooooop mode, if I hit R, I'll go into Zooooop mode. And what that means is I can click once and then just drag. I can drag up to 10 items by default. And that makes building platforms and large structures just a breeze. This really changed the way that I played when I discovered this. And it's not obvious that things have build modes or what the other build modes do. There's also vertical mode. So I love doing this for building large structures and towers and walls, where you can just create a huge thing all in one click. Zooooop mode is just absolutely amazing, and if you didn't know about it before, congratulations, you've just unlocked one of the most useful features, in my opinion, in Satisfactory. There are some other things that do have this Zooooop mode. For instance, stackable conveyor pole. Zooooop. That is a lifesaver when you want to move a bunch of belts and you're just setting up things. You can put these periodically and just throw them out. You don't need a blueprint for this. Works for walls. Walls have a Zooooop mode. Works for architectural things. So let's say I want to build a pillar support and I'm going to use the metal pillar. I can put it in Zooooop mode and I can do the same thing with that. Zooooop is awesome. So the next tip I have is about how to build without really needing to look at what you're building. So if I've started working on this very weird structure here, and I want to build another one of these poles, but my hotbar is on my default, I can click with the middle mouse button. If you have a middle mouse button, it will select whatever you're clicking in. And this works if you're in build mode. It works when you're in dismantle mode. It even works when you're in dismantle mode blueprint. It will select an entire blueprint. So if I have this train segment that I put down, I can, if I'm in build mode blueprint and I middle click that, it'll go select that. So I go into dismantle mode blueprint, click, and now I have that thing again. This is really useful. Between these 4 things, I barely ever need to go into the build menu when I'm building large structures, and that will speed up everything. So you just scroll to the thing that you're working on. If that's your architectural set, you build. I have my decoration set where I can select through all the colors, materials, and everything. And then I have production, logistics, and pipes. And I pretty much never need to go into the build menu to build just massive things. So these are some of the best things for just speed building that I've found. And there's probably some more that I just haven't come across yet. So if you know of any other build tricks like this, go ahead and add them in the comments. And while you're over there adding that, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you like this kind of stuff, let me know. I'm happy to make more of it. Okay, so the next set of tips I have are all about optimizing factories and using some of the UI tools that are just built into the game to quickly assign things. So you're familiar with this user interface. You've got items in, items out. You can overclock. You can scroll this bar and you can find something. And for the longest time, I was sliding this bar and just trying real slowly to hit what I want. And then I'd hit up and I'd get close. And then, oh nope, I'd go over it. I couldn't hit 50 items. And I was doing that forever. Then I discovered this. I happened to just mouse over and see that edit box. You can type directly into these, hit enter, and it will automatically adjust to exactly what you typed in the bar. This works for the items for your production rate on your output. It works for your clock speed, so you can get exact percentages of whatever you need. This was absolutely life-saving. So if you really want to overclock or underclock a factory just to perfection, don't fiddle with that little slider bar. Do the math, figure it out, and just type it right into the box. Once you've got your first building all set up, and you've got, 6 more that I've got to do, you may have noticed this little copy settings button. This one is fairly obvious. You can copy the settings, and then when you open another, you can paste the settings, but there's no paste here. All you have to do is hit Control V, and that'll paste whatever's stored. But it gets even better than that, because not only can you press Control V, you don't even need to open the menu. I can press Control V, Control V, Control V. Now all of these have the same settings. That makes setting up really complex factories and really big lines just super fast. You can also copy directly by pressing Control-C. The only thing you have to be able to do is you have to be able to select that building. So if the press E to configure pops up, you can Control-C, Control-V. So this next tip was absolutely my favorite thing in the world. And I was just talking about this so much for so long. I don't know what inspired me to do this. I had never seen anyone else do it. But if you want to get 100 divided by 3, you can just type 100 divided by 3 right there in the building and get exactly what you need. This is just mind-blowingly useful, and whoever thought to put this in, thank you very much. Developers, thank you. This is amazing, and I can't stop. I get giddy whenever I think about it. If you're doing that kind of math inside of a building, you're sort of limited by the maximum number of items that you're going to get from that building. So this, I can rank all the way up to 75 per minute. So if I wanted to do 250 divided by 3, that's just going to hit 75 per minute. That's a little annoying that it caps out. It doesn't tell you what it is and then tell you it's wrong or anything. But if you hit the N key for quick search or whatever you have it bound to, you can type in the same things over here, and that'll tell you exactly how many. It also does fairly complex things like supports parentheses. I can do times 3/5. This is really useful if you're looking at something and you're just, your brain is stuck. And you're like, what am I going to do? How many items do I need? You can type it right here. I was tabbing out into other programs, other calculators for a long time, or even doing this on paper. It's just so much easier to use this. Again, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so there you go. That's 7 tips for building and optimizing factories that, when I discovered them, absolutely blew my mind. If you like these, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. If I've missed anything, if there's some super awesome tip that you know, leave it in the comments. I want to know it too. This stuff is great. Satisfactory is full of little tricks and tips that you just don't think about, and there's always so much more to explore and find out. So I look forward to hearing your favorite tips and tricks, and see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Most of these next few tricks are really... Oh, I'm getting attacked. Leave me alone, bro.